What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another run here in American Truck Simulator. Today I'm in the Viper 2 389, hooked up to some radioactive material. Yeah, I'm going to be glowing in the dark here, I think. I saw this one. It's been out for a while. It's really nothing new, but you know what? I said, let's go ahead and pull this one for once. I haven't yet, and this is the first time I had this thing hooked up to a truck. Let's go ahead and drop that just for the hell of it, because today we're tipping the scales at 79,000 pounds, as you see there, carrying some nuclear waste, heading over to Bakersfield to the Union Pacific Yard. What's a little odd is I'm leaving Coastline Mining. What is Coastline Mining doing with radioactive material unless Coastline Mining is actually mining uranium? I doubt they are. But, you know what, I don't know where all the uranium mines are in the world, so, you know, who knows? Is this one gonna... Nah, I kinda don't like that one. Alrighty. Wasn't this a stoplight in the past? Do I really need that drop axle down? No, I don't. But what the hell, I'm putting it down anyway. Now this trailer here is two versions, loaded and empty. But I think nuclear waste is basically all you get to haul on it, and that's all this trailer was really meant to haul anyway. It's containers like this. Nuclear waste storage containers are built stronger than tanks. They're almost like a vault, and they might be even stronger than vaults. I remember seeing video when you're watching like Modern Marvels or something like that on Discovery. These things, if they were on a train, for example, or on a truck, and the truck wrecks, or the train wrecks, these things are supposed to be able to take whatever kind of beating might come from that. So it could be, you know, other trucks or train cars slamming into it, or it being slammed into a wall at 80 miles an hour. It doesn't matter. These things are going to take a beating and stay together. They're not supposed to come apart. They're not supposed to crack or anything, because obviously if that happens, you've got a small problem. You've got radioactive waste or radioactive material leaking out, and that is far worse than, you know, some oil spill or a pipeline burst or something like that. So these things, and I've been seeing them more frequently, at least once a week as of the last month or two, heading north on 55, in varying sizes as well, but I've been seeing them more often, and it just makes me wonder, you know, okay, why is there nuclear material being transported at this pace? You know, before I never really saw it that much, and like I said, as of the last month, I've been seeing it almost once a week. In fact, I saw one late last week, and then I just saw one today heading home. And that one actually had an oversized escort. So, you know, maybe nuke plants are changing out their materials, which does have to happen. From time to time, they do need to get rid of the old rods and bring in new rods. So this is one of the ways that they will go ahead and transport these materials. The other one is by rail. Now, the rail one I don't see too often, and the only time I have seen it was when I was living near one of the two nuke plants in the far south suburbs, and which was Braidwood Generating Station. And they had a couple of rail cars out there waiting to pick up nuclear material, and it's not a normal rail car, it's a flatbed, but it looks like it's been modified, and it has this huge dome that goes from one end to the other and covers the whole thing. And I imagine that gets lifted off and the nuclear material is placed on the inside of that. But that's one of the ways that it's carried via rail. It's safe, you know. You guys don't have to, you know, cover your twig and berries every time you pass one of these things, or if you happen to be next to one at a stoplight. You're fine. You're not gonna end up getting, you know, radioactive poisoning from it or anything. But you know, if one is wrecked, yeah, be somewhere else. But you know, it's just another one of those things that, you know, the nation has to do in order to keep its infrastructure up and going to generate power. And where all this is stored is, I believe it's in New Mexico. It's Yucca Mountain. No, Nevada. I'm sorry, it's in Nevada. And Yucca Mountain is the regulatory, or U.S. Nuclear Regulatory, if I have it correct. That's their storage. All of our spent nuclear waste goes there. And, well, maybe not all. I think there's another one. I think there's one up in Washington. Now, obviously, this is not a place where people can go and, you know, take a photo outside the main gate or something. You're probably going to get shot. But, you know, it's not a tourist destination, but we do store a lot of this stuff because obviously we don't want this stuff landing up in the wrong hands. We don't want it going into our backyards or into, you know, any of our streams or rivers or lakes or whatever. We don't want it winding up in the hands of some nut job out of Asia or the Middle East or something, you know. So this is one of the most tightly controlled substances in the United States. Radioactive materials like this, plutonium, uranium, what have you. And I mean, this is definitely something you don't joke about. In my time when I was working for a used oil company, I was at 3 nuclear power plants, and getting into there is not easy. Obviously, it's just like walking onto a military base nowadays. Guys sitting there with AR-15s on their backs, 9 mils strapped to their, you know, I think there were 9 mils. I didn't really quiz these guys to see what kind of weaponry they were holding, but you know, they're strapped. They're straight up security guards. They're not your rent-a-cops, you know. And these guys, I've seen postings for job openings at the Braidwood plant. They get paid very handsomely, but you know, from what I was seeing in the job description, it almost seems like they have more required qualifications than a cop, because they want someone that's going to be physically fit and agile. They want someone that's going to be, you know, the elevators are going to hit all the floors in their head. You know, they're not going to be a few fries short of a Happy Meal kind of thing. You know, you're guarding a nuclear power plant, so you know, if you got problems with alcohol or voices or even mommy or daddy problems, you're probably not going to be able to work at a place like that. If you're not, why did you stop, Kenworth? I didn't. Oh, we're stopping anyway. You know, they want someone that's going to be quite sane and in complete control of their mental capacity. Because after all, you are guarding a spot that can take out a metropolitan area. Now, I don't believe nuke plants are, you know, around every corner. I know in the southwest suburbs here, I basically lived between two of them. Dresden Nuclear Power Plant and outside Moritz and Braidwood Generating Station. Both nuclear power plants. And I believe, and I don't remember if it's shut down or not, but one was up by Zion, Illinois. I think I heard there's 6 in Illinois, period. I don't know where they're all at, but I mean, I don't even know if every state has a nuke plant. I know in certain areas they might not need it because they have hydro. Pacific Northwest, I believe you guys out there have hydro plants. I believe there's some up in Canada as well. So, but unfortunately, in an area like where I'm at here, hydro isn't really an option. You know, it's not like they're going to put a dam across the Mississippi River. I'm too far away from that anyway. I'm 2.5 hours. So I mean, and on top of that, that's a major waterway for barge traffic and everything. So, you know, wind is not going to be able to keep up with everything. You'd have to have wind farms on every piece of farmland in northern Illinois, probably just enough, you know, to supply enough power to Chicago. Solar, not going to happen here. That ain't going to work. You're better off in a desert with that. So nuke plants and coal are really the only ways, and the way everything's going now for coal plants, they've become pretty much public enemy #1 in the power generating world. Chicago, a couple of years ago, shut down, or basically forced ComEd to shut down both of their coal power plants that were in the city. The company I worked for was there for remediation, getting rid of oil and other materials that were there. Come on, dude, you gonna go or not? You slow down. So with the, and I believe the Obama administration wasn't too kind with oil or coal either. So, you know, nuclear was one way to go, but I don't believe a nuke plant has been built in decades. I would have to check on that. I know the same can be said for refineries. Refineries don't get built very often; they just get upgraded over and over. But you know, during Obama, it was green energy, so it was wind turbines and it was solar and this and that. And still, by far, it doesn't generate nowhere near enough to supply the United States, and I don't think it ever will, in my opinion. Natural gas is another way of generating energy, and I believe there's a few of those out east, Ohio to the East Coast area. So, you know, depending on where you live is going to determine what kind of, well, it's going to determine how your power is generated. So, it's interesting to see that too. You know, what works for one area isn't going to work for another. But unfortunately, until, you know, nuclear and coal and natural gas are probably really the only ones that can work in every region of America. Not just the continental 48, but also Alaska and Hawaii. Now, I don't know about Hawaii. I don't know if they have any natural gas deposits out that way, but they are also sitting on Earth's natural oven, volcanoes. That geothermal energy right there alone. But then again, well, parts of Hawaii are pretty damn unstable. I mean, they got volcanoes erupting all the time over there in certain islands. So that might not be a wise thing to do either. But geothermal is also another option, but that's more for home use. I don't believe that is implemented anywhere on a wide scale, wide consumption scale for like a city or a state. If it is, please guys let me know. But I personally have not heard of anything like that being done. Would be a decent idea. But, so yeah, this is how radioactive material gets transported. One of a couple of different ways. I like this trailer, it is nice. Unfortunately, it's a single-use trailer. That is a downside, and, you know, there's not a lot of those in the game here. Single-use trailers. Yeah, we do have the heavy haul style trailers, but and that's a single style use right there because, well, all you're going to do is haul heavy items with it. But then again, you're not limited to just one item. You know, the case quad track that's on one of those heavy haul trailers, you know, that's not the only thing that can go on that trailer. You know, you can put whatever else goes on that trailer and haul it. This one is pretty much the only, this trailer here is pretty much used for only one thing, and that's for hauling that big dumbbell looking thing back there. And that could probably kill me with less than 24 hours if I were to get a lethal dose. I'm probably more likely to get killed by the Russian, you know, KGB or whatever their new police force is than to get a lethal dose from this thing back here. Which they still do. They still kill people with radiation. It happened a few years ago, and a guy in London ended up dying from it. Oh, I can't remember the name of it. It wasn't like uranium or something like that. It was palladium or something. It was an exotic radioactive element. But, yeah, and it's not confirmed. You know, they're not going to sit there and say, oh yeah, we killed the son of a bitch. You know, we did it. But it is believed that the Russians killed, and I believe he was considered a spy, they killed a guy with radiation. And if I remember correctly, I'm probably not, but I want to say they snuck it into the guy's tea or something like that. And he drank it, and he ended up dying like a week later or something. I should fact check stuff like that before I share it with you guys, but it's just one of those things that just came to the top of my head, you know. It just occurred to me. So it has happened, and who's to say if it will happen again or not? You never know with those Russians. They don't want you to talk. You're not going to talk. Alright, did I pull in here correctly? Looks like I did. There we go. Alright guys, that's gonna be it for now. Make sure you check the description for not just the truck here. Well, the truck's already down there. It's part of the concurrent mod. But for this trailer here, I will go ahead and get this in there for you guys so you can go ahead and take a look at it and try it out yourself. Damn it, I forgot to mention again at the beginning of the video. This is the Cummins N14 525 horsepower that I have underneath the hood. I gotta get back in the habit of mentioning that at the beginning of the video. Well, hopefully you guys are still watching. So that is it for now. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next run. Until next time, take it easy.